Have you ever wondered if the world as we know it is about to change irrevocably? What if I told you that a man 2,000 years ago revealed a detailed plan of events that would shape our reality, culminating in our very own days? Get ready, because what you are about to hear might leave you breathless and change your perspective on the times we live in. Imagine the Temple of Jerusalem, an architectural marvel of marble and gold, the pinnacle of Jewish faith, a symbol of power, permanence, and the very presence of God. The disciples, amazed, point to its grandeur, to the solidity of its stones. But Jesus utters words that would chill anyone's blood. He declares that of those imposing stones, not one would be left upon another. A statement that not only predicted physical destruction, but the end of an era. The shock must have been indescribable. How could something so eternal, so central to their identity, be destroyed? With pounding hearts, they questioned him privately, on the Mount of Olives, eager to unravel the mystery. They needed to know, when would these things happen, and what would be the unmistakable signs of his coming and the end of the age? Jesus then begins to lift the veil of the future, revealing a cosmic roadmap that echoes with astonishing clarity into our days. He warns them with a palpable urgency. Watch out that no one deceives you. This is the first crucial alert that resonates for you today. The need for discernment in a world filled with conflicting voices and ideologies, he continues, detailing that many will come in his name, declaring, "I am he," or "the Christ is here," and will deceive many. Not just false prophets who proclaim themselves the Messiah, but also false spiritual leaders, misleading doctrines, and movements that stray from the truth, spreading a wave of deception that would spread like a virus, reaching unsuspecting hearts and inattentive minds. And the wars? You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, regional conflicts, and global threats that seem never to cease. But do not be alarmed, says Jesus. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. A scenario of conflicts that seems endless and increasingly intense, with modern technology amplifying their reach and devastation. Earthquakes in various places, devastating famines, and natural disasters that shake the fabric of society, challenging human resilience. These events, though terrible and often reported with alarmism, are described not as the end itself, but as the beginning of birth pains, a powerful metaphor indicating that, just as the pains of a pregnant woman increase in frequency and intensity before birth, these signs will intensify, foreshadowing the arrival of something grand and definitive. This is the central message. Chaos and turbulence are not the end, but a prelude. It is an urgent invitation to awaken, to pay attention to the signs unfolding around us, not with paralyzing fear, but with informed vigilance. Are you ready to decipher the next steps of this millennial prophecy and understand your role in it? But Jesus' revelations didn't stop at global disasters and cosmic signs. He delved into the personal sphere, warning his followers about the intimate and social trials they would face. Be prepared for what comes next may challenge your own faith, your deepest convictions, and your willingness to stand firm, he warned. You will be handed over to the courts and flogged in synagogues. This is not just generic persecution. It is targeted religious and social persecution, a bitter and painful reality for those who would faithfully follow him. Imagine the fear, the uncertainty of such a grim future, where faith itself becomes a crime. And that's not all. For my sake, you will stand before governors and kings, not as common criminals, but to testify to them. Your pain, your struggle, your humiliation would become an unexpected platform for truth, a divine opportunity to proclaim the gospel to authorities who might otherwise never hear it. But when you are brought to trial and stand condemned, do not worry beforehand about what to say or how to defend yourselves. At that time, the Holy Spirit will give you the right words, a promise of supernatural empowerment amid the most intense pressure, an inner power and wisdom that few truly know, transforming human weakness into divine strength. Betrayal will come from where you least expect it, corroding the most sacred bonds. Brother will betray brother to death, and a father his child. Children will rebel against their parents and have them put to death. The very family structure, the foundation of society, will disintegrate under the force of persecution and spiritual division, showing the depth of darkness that would descend upon humanity. Everyone will hate you because of my name. A widespread animosity without apparent cause or logic, simply for being aligned with Jesus' message, for representing light in a world that prefers darkness. Imagine the isolation, the profound incomprehension, and the stigma this would generate, making the believer's life a constant challenge. However, Jesus leaves a promise that shines like a star in the densest darkness. But the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. This is not just an anchor of hope, but a direct challenge to resilience, to unwavering faithfulness. Your ability to endure trials, to maintain faith and integrity until the very last moment, will determine your eternal destiny. Salvation is not just an initial event, but a process of remaining in faith. This part of the prophecy is an invitation to deep reflection on the cost of genuine faith and the immeasurable reward of faithfulness. What would you be willing to endure for what you believe? The answer to that question may define who you truly are and what your legacy will be. Now, we will enter the most enigmatic, disturbing, and crucial part of Jesus' prophecy, a sign that many speculate about, but few fully understand in its depth and implications. What you are about to discover may radically alter your perception of the final events and the urgency of the present time. Jesus speaks of the abomination that causes desolation, standing where it does not belong, a direct reference to a prophecy from the prophet Daniel which had a partial fulfillment in history, such as the desecration of the temple by Antiochus Epiphanes and the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, but points to a final and definitive fulfillment in the end times. Let the reader understand. This is an exhortation for readers to study and comprehend the profound meaning of this event, which will be an act of ultimate profanation, sacrilege that marks a point of no return, a critical moment in human history, likely related to the figure of the Antichrist. When you see such a thing, those who are in Judea must flee to the mountains. There will be no time to hesitate to gather anything. The urgency is extreme. The speed of flight will be crucial for physical survival. This underscores the gravity and imminent danger that this event will bring. Let no one on the housetop go down or enter the house to take anything out. Let no one in the field go back to get their cloak. Every second will count. Life will be at stake, and material possessions, even the most valuable ones, will become irrelevant and worthless in the face of imminent danger and the need to escape. How dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. A prophecy that evokes an image of unimaginable suffering, amplified vulnerability in a scenario of unprecedented chaos and despair. Escape would be almost impossible for them, and their pain would be multiplied. Pray that this will not happen in winter or on the Sabbath. This prayer reveals practical concerns. Winter would hinder escape due to cold and adverse weather conditions, while the Sabbath, with its religious restrictions for Jews, would prevent long journeys, limiting the chances of survival. For those will be days of distress unequaled from the beginning, when God created the world, until now and never to be equaled again. A period of anguish and suffering that surpasses any catastrophe, genocide, or natural disaster humanity has ever witnessed. It is a time of unparalleled trial that will test the limits of human endurance. If the Lord had not cut short those days, no one would survive. But for the sake of the elect, whom he has chosen, he has shortened them. This is a divine intervention of mercy. Although suffering is inevitable and intense, God's sovereignty limits its duration, ensuring that a faithful remnant can endure and be saved, demonstrating that even in judgment, there is grace. We reach the climax of the prophecy, the event that promises to redefine existence, bring a dramatic end to troubled times, and usher in a new era. Prepare for the revelation of ultimate hope for the righteous, but also for the persistent and vital challenge of constant vigilance. But in those days, following that distress, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. A cosmic scenario of epic proportions. A complete disruption of creation, anticipating the arrival of something truly magnificent and supernatural. These are not just natural phenomena, but divine signs announcing God's final intervention in history. At that time, people will see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory. This is the second coming of Jesus Christ, a spectacular manifestation visible to all peoples of the earth, undeniable and irrefutable. The expectation that permeates human history, the promise of a Messiah who would return, will finally come to fruition triumphantly, and he will send his angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of the heavens. A global and supernatural summons. It's a divine rescue of those who persevered through adversity and remained faithful to his name. It will be the moment of redemption and reward for all who await him. Now learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Nature teaches us to observe the signs, to recognize the patterns of a season's arrival. It is an invitation to careful observation and correct interpretation of events. Even so, when you see these things happening, you know that it is near, right at the door. Prophecies are not just ancient stories. They are markers, indicators of proximity, divine alerts for us to actively prepare for his arrival. They give us a sense of time, but not the exact date. Truly, I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. An unshakable certainty in the immutability and infallibility of his words. Jesus' promise is that the generation that begins to see these signs will not perish before everything is fulfilled, guaranteeing the realization of every prophetic detail. But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. The uncertainty of the exact timing is not meant to cause us anxiety, but emphasizes the need for constant vigilance and continuous preparation, without procrastination or complacency. Be on guard, be alert. You do not know when that time will come. Like a man going away, he leaves his house and puts his servants in charge, each with their assigned task, and tells the one at the door to keep watch incessantly. Therefore keep watch, because you do not know when the owner of the house will come, whether in the evening, or at midnight, or when the rooster crows, or at dawn. At any moment he may arrive, demanding full readiness and the faithful execution of assigned tasks. Vigilance implies being spiritually awake and active. If he comes suddenly, do not let him find you sleeping. Solemn warning against spiritual negligence, against complacency and apathy. Sleeping here means being unprepared, inattentive, or involved in things that draw us away from God's will. Your life, your eternity, may depend on your attention to this urgent call. What I say to you, I say to everyone: watch. This is the final appeal, the command that echoes through the centuries. A reminder that time is precious, opportunity is finite, and preparation is everything. Your vigilance is not.